People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, on today's episode, we have a return guest. And this time he's accompanied by his lovely wife and lovely assistant. He's been a magician for 59 years, and he is known as the world's smallest magician. Everyone, it's Irwin and Stephanie Royce. Woo!
Hey!
What's up, guys?
Hey, not much. Just hanging out at home, waiting to listen to hear from you.
Well, we could have done this earlier if you were just waiting around. You guys picked the time. What's happening? Stephanie, how you doing, girl?
I'm doing great.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we're just dealing with my doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But other than that, no work right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the news every day is we're still in the coronavirus stuff. Even though we're out of it, we're still back in it, and different variants are coming out, and every day it's something different in the news. And I know it's affecting business. We're doing shows, but it's still affecting stuff. We're booking compared to 2020, we are
Doing well.
Yeah, we're working our butts off. But compared to 2019,
we're slacking
Yeah.
a lot.
so
But, you know,
Well, I turned down 3 or 4 gigs because of health issues right now. And the last thing I want to do is go in the hospital.
right.
I just want to stay away from it as far as I can. And right now, I probably, unless I had an extreme emergency, life or death, I wouldn't be admitted anyway.
Well, I was re-listening to our last episode, and you were talking about the brittle bones. It's called osteoporosis imperfecta. Did I get it right?
Nope.
Okay.
Osteogenesis.
Osteo what?
Osteogenesis imperfecta.
There you go. So I was listening to it, and you kept saying, you broke a lot of bones, and you had a bone broken when you were a baby, when you were born. How many do you think bones you've broken over your life? Do you have any idea?
Over 160.
Whoa.
Golly.
Holy
And
night.
that's not much for somebody with osteogenesis because it's a genetic thing, and it depends on how bad you have it. I know people who have, broken more bones than I have.
Well,
Goodness.
I actually worked with a cast on years ago.
how many X-rays do you think you've gotten over your lifetime?
Too many.
Enough to where he glows in the dark at night.
I was getting ready to say that. I was wondering if you did.
You don't need a nightlight.
Well, my orthopedist, who doesn't want to X-ray me unless it's absolutely necessary, he says that I could give you cancer with the X-rays,
Right.
and I kind of think that my file of X-rays that have not been put on digital would be as tall as I am. So that being said, I'm
Wow.
sure I would have gotten it a long time ago, but he doesn't want to take too many X-rays.
It still sounds like you've gotten quite a few. My goodness.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I had to go in and get my spine X-rayed the other day, and I went in and I told the girl, we're doing an AP and lateral. She looked at me, and I said, this was my second home, the X-ray room. And I said, I listened to everything you guys were saying throughout the years, this position, that position. And she said, well, you should have been an X-ray tech. And I said, well, I probably couldn't have reached the buttons,
Nah.
So, but
Yeah.
And they have to make you turn this way and turn that way and turn this way. And all the while you have a broken bone.
Right.
So, you're yelling and cussing and everything else, but there's no way the doctor can do any other way.
Well, I had a little bit of that with my injured foot. They wanted me to roll my foot to my left, or my right foot. They wanted the inside ankle touching the ground, and then the right side ankle touching the ground as I'm standing up. Mm-hmm. I can't do that with my healthy foot. It was so I was like almost doing a push-up on the floor to get my ankle to roll that way so they could get an X-ray of both sides. Yeah. I can't imagine if something's broken though.
Yeah, they get people at their worst, and at one time you could go into the ER, and the first thing they do is they put IV in your arm, and they'll give you some they'll give you a drug,
Like morphine.
morphine. Actually, the word I'm looking for, morphine, to lessen your pain. And today they won't give you anything for pain unless you're admitted.
Oh,
So-
for the yeah.
Yeah. So for anything, they'll tell you we can't give you anything.
Now, if you go by ambulance, they might be able to give you something. But maybe that's because you're moving.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, if you have to give an IV, make sure you have very good veins. If not, the night before, drink a lot of water. So,
Yeah, well, you've had all kinds of practice with that. You could write a book on that.
yeah, probably.
Hey, speaking of which, have you
Actually,
started your biography yet?
No, not really.
Well, you've had a year off. Come on.
It's been my department.
Well, you've had a year off, Stephanie. Come on.
But on and off. And I've been getting a lot of pictures and articles together. And I have a lot of stuff saved on my computer. And it's really more about going through it all and writing some stuff down, writing down the stories. But I also have other projects like my tap dancing and my own artwork that I do. And, you follow me on Facebook, so you know how busy I am.
Yeah, she does Zoom tap lessons every Monday night. And with a gentleman who was Bob Fitch's partner when Bob did shows or Broadway shows.
Wow.
And an hour before, they usually get together, and usually Bob Fitch jumps in. So it's good to see him,
Well, aren't you guys living in an apartment?
If you can call it that.
What do the people below you think? Because you heard tapping on the ceiling all night long.
No, well, we're on the ground floor.
Oh, there you go. All right, there you go.
Yeah, ground floor cement underneath.
How's tap dance lessons over Zoom? How's that working out?
It's working out pretty well. I have great teachers. The Bob, of course, and my tap instructor, George, and everyone else who shows up, beforehand. Kind of give each other ideas and everything. Learning different routines now and seeing how good my memory is and trying to see if my brain will work with my feet.
Well, do you do anything like around here? Cloggin's real big. So, do you do any demonstrations or any shows of your tap dancing, or is it just more practice, exercise type thing?
Well, I haven't gone out and tried to get any kind of shows or any kind of demo thing like what you're talking about, because I'm not associated with any kind of local dance group.
Okay.
Because I am learning on Zoom, and my teacher is in Austin, Texas.
So it's been Zoom prior to the pandemic as well?
No, I didn't take up tap until the pandemic started.
Oh, wow. I thought you'd been into that for so long because your love of Fred Astaire and everything. How'd you fall in love with Fred Astaire? What was your fascination with Fred Astaire?
Well, You know, it's whatever the first movie, I guess. Of course, it's more interesting now whenever you start studying something like dance, and then you start really appreciating the movies even more than what you did before.
Well, I know we have a connection with the movie Holiday Inn. Natalie and I love that movie. Natalie wants to watch it several times every Christmas.
Oh, I do.
And I'm okay watching it just once.
I love it. Now make Wes watch it with me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
No, you're good. I said I'll make Wes watch it with me, and then when we visit my parents, I'll be like, "Mom, you want to watch it?" And they'll be happy to watch it with me because they haven't watched it yet. So I'll get it in at least twice.
But the thing about them talking about, you know, he wants to be lazy and move to the farm because, you know, he only works on holidays, but holidays in a regular show business, you're doing like 5 performances. That's us. You know, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, name a holiday, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. We're at resorts doing, you know, 3 or 4 shows. They're doing illusion shows at resorts. We're all, you know, that's our crazy busy time. Holidays are the first ones to get booked. And we just, that movie, they knew what they were talking about. That's right.
Well, maybe you should open up an inn.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
No.
You stay in one.
Somebody's got to do the cooking, though. See, they didn't show you that. I don't have a Mamie. If you know the movie, you know that he had a assistant that would help do all the cooking and everything, and a big band and all that stuff. We wouldn't have all that, but and I can't sing or dance. I can just do magic. I told Natalie.
They bring in the other entertainment. That way, you're not always having to be the entertainer.
There you go. I told Natalie that Lance Burton, he should have watched that movie because he retired from Vegas and moved to Kentucky to live on that farm. I said, yeah, he just wants to be lazy.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about with this movie Holiday Inn with Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby, check it out. It's a good movie.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. It's good.
Yeah, they have it on sale on Amazon. And every kind of form possible, even digital. That's the only Fred Astaire movie I own.
Wow,
yeah?
as much as you love Fred Astaire.
I do have a 19-inch doll on my desk of Fred.
Oh my, that's funny. Well,
See, I go to that movie. Go ahead.
He has different outfits too. I have my friend make him an outfit, so I have to get a picture and send it to you.
Yeah. See, I love.
From Royal Wedding, I believe.
We don't know a lot of Fred Astaire movies.
No.
Is that one of the other Fred Astaire movies called Royal Wedding?
Yeah. Do you remember the dance routine where he dances with the coat rack?
In Holiday Inn?
no, it's a different movie.
Oh no, I don't know it. No.
Oh, okay. Well, I have my friend create that outfit, and I have it on my doll. And I took a picture of it and posted it in my Fred Astaire group that I'm in on Facebook. And a lot of people have the same doll. You know, the doll is pretty common, but no one has the doll in that outfit because he only comes in the tuxedo.
Right.
So I got to show him in a different outfit.
That's awesome. So.
And you were speaking about clogging,
Yeah.
and I worked with cloggers before.
Did you clog?
No, I was emceed a show that went on 3 or 4 shows on the road, and they were local cloggers from New Orleans. And at that time, they decided that they needed to practice every time. And so you're on stage, and backstage you hear clogging going on.
Oh,
And I said, guys, you don't do that when the show starts.
yeah.
Yeah, they always want to practice. They do that at county fairs as well. They're always back there hitting pieces of wood back there.
Yeah. So people in the audience will wonder what's going on, you know, and they're clogging, and Right.
I don't know, Stephanie. Is it like testing your shoes to make sure they're tight enough? Is that what they're doing, or getting their feet settled into the shoes, or are they just stretching out? What are they doing?
I have no idea, but it is pretty addictive.
Yeah.
Being able to make wonderful sounds with your feet, but I wouldn't do that during a show.
Yeah. Well.
I'd warm up beforehand. I mean, you got to warm up. You got to loosen up.
Yeah.
But not during a show.
Right. Well, it's just.
And that's not during a show where Irwin's performing.
So, what was your first time seeing Irwin perform? Do you remember that?
Wow. The first time, I think it was at library. Like during, every year the clubs do a show for the library, free show for Halloween. And I had known him, I'm trying to think now, I came to visit a number of times after I met him. And it may have been that, I know I helped him during the summer, my first summer over here. And that may have been the first time. Wow, it's been forever.
Well, how long you guys been together?
We've known each other for 17 years, and we've been married for 15.
Okay. So he took you on the road with him, and how soon before you started setting up his equipment and just taking over that aspect? Because Natalie does that for me as well, and it's so nice. It's so nice to have somebody that you trust working behind the scenes helping you out.
Wow. I'd say within the first year, maybe setting up a few things, learning one or two things at a time on how to set it up. And then once I've learned everything, then I can just set everything up. There's a couple things that I don't do. Irwin does anything relating to the silks. If we're producing any kind of silk fountain or whatever, I'll let him do that.
See, that's funny. I gave Natalie the silks. I say, you do silks in your part of the show. I don't want to do silks in my part of the show. It's a lot of folding. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that either. The only thing that I do really silk-wise is iron them.
Oh, that's funny.
That's nice, though.
Yeah.
God bless you. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope Wes set up his show, but there's some things that I have no reason for. I just say I don't want to know how to do it because I need you to have something to do before the show. So
and I say it's not cool. Here, you do this, and she says, "I'm not looking." La la la.
No. I do it on purpose. He needs to pull his weight just a little bit.
That's funny. Well, sometimes it's good because it gives the magician time to go around and talk to the crowd and talk to the people, and kind of get them hyped up about the show. It's also good after the show because she packs everything up, and I can, talk to people after the show and see how you like it, take pictures. If you want a business card, you're there. So it's good to have two people. It was a little tough when I worked by myself because I would have to push everything. As soon as the show was finished, I had to push everything to the back, and cover it so the little prying hands of children, couldn't go there. And then always was the last guy in the building,
Yeah, we just did a school show. We just did a school show 2 days ago, and I told my little girl to go in there and just sit beside the equipment because Natalie was feeding the boys. The babysitter is going to help carry the boys in, and I'm taking the show in piece by piece. And my little girl's like, "Why, Dad?" And I said, "So nobody messes with my stuff in between trips." People are so nosy. They just want to see what you bring in or lifting up a cloth and covering the animals. They want to see the animals. They lift up cloth and poke at them. And it's like, no. Lana she knows what she's doing, though. She protects my stuff.
Yeah.
But when you're by yourself, it's real hard.
Yeah,
stage, and I'm in front of the audience as much as Irwin is. But whenever I have a backstage, I can actually put the magic up while we're doing the show. And when we're done, just about everything's packed up and ready to go.
Yeah.
But when I don't have that backstage, I can't do that, and so that takes a little extra time while he's dealing with the people to sit down and start putting everything back up.
Yeah.
A lot of guys like to work with a backdrop. I just feel like it's extra work.
Well, I think it depends on the situation. If sometimes you have to have a backdrop, other times you just make whatever work. So.
Yeah,
And then what backdrop do you bring in? Because you have outside shows, inside shows. Some libraries, you barely have any room for your stuff, much less a 10 by 10 backdrop. And then other ones, it's a naked stage and it could use something, but a 10 by 10 backdrop looks tiny on a huge, empty, naked stage.
Yeah.
So.
well, if you do school shows, what I normally do is if you got a stage at the school, 90% of the time it's filled with junk, books, bingo game,
Chairs, desks,
right?
Yeah.
lost and found.
So what I normally do is I will, if I have to use a backdrop, I set a backdrop up, and then draw the curtains till they sight line is where they don't touch, but they right even with the backdrop. So you have the curtains pulled, and then you have the backdrop set back. And so for the smaller things you can do in just your hands, you come out and do, of course, for years I've had to redo the show over and over and over because I got to the point where, walking wasn't a problem. And then I got to the point where standing a long time was a problem. So I got a wooden stool, and cut some of the leg off, and so it would be short enough for me. And I'd do the old bit like when the guy plays the guitar, he hangs one cheek on the stool, and and then I could walk away from that, and if I got tired, I could come back and sit down and do an effect. And then I got to the point where, I basically can't stand anymore, and so I use a chair and I sit, and I discovered that sitting and standing, I'm almost the same height, so it doesn't really matter. But it was a constant over the years, it wasn't like a shock thing where I woke up in the morning and said, oh wait, you can't stand that long. I could just feel it coming on, so I had time to think about what I was going to do to reinvent that part of the show.
So, Stephanie, do you do any magic in the show at all, or are you just a lovely assistant?
And Rhodey.
And Rhodey.
And Rhodey. No, I don't do anything besides bringing the props out to him. I might help him during the magic trick, but he's strictly the magician.
Okay.
She does music.
Does she pick audience volunteers or anything, or that's all you as well?
No, I usually pick them because what I do is the minute they come in and they're sitting here, I'm usually watching and trying to figure out who I think is going to be the best. I've had pretty good success about picking on, the kids to come up and help me, or an adult actually, and it gives me time now that I'm sitting on the chair. And even before that, when I would do a school show, and I think I mentioned this last time, I am on the stage when the door opens and the first class comes in. And I'm on the microphone welcoming people that, come on in and have a seat. If you're sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce, it gives me, I don't have to calm them down when they first see me. So everybody's calmed down. And, I always feel sorry for the kids in the last row at schools.
Oh, I have the same thing, man. I never could see over the kids in front of you. Yep.
And I always tell the teacher, if it's possible, let them sit on the floor. Because, one will try to climb on a chair in the back and fall off, and then you got a problem. So I always say let them sit on the floor if that's, and, the janitorial staff is happy because they don't have to set up all these chairs.
Yeah.
But, no, I like to do that, and I'm still old-fashioned. I don't believe in all this new stuff today. Like everything has to be no gender. They don't want you to say, may I have that young man right there help me, or that boy over here, or that girl over here. I mean, to me, I don't know. I like to still call the young gentleman. I could say gentleman.
Yeah.
And there's so many rules now today when you're working with people.
I didn't think about it, but I usually try to describe their clothes, and unless it's a private school where they're on a uniform, I'll say the guy with the Ninja Turtle shirt right there in the second row, or right here, you have a pink unicorn in your shirt. So I don't even know if I say the guy. I just say, hey, Ninja Turtle shirt, come on up.
You've always done that, though.
Yeah, because I've always done that. Because so many times, a kid is 6 years old and has long hair. They haven't developed any masculine. I mean, how much testosterone's running through a 6-year-old? So if it has long hair, you just figure it's a girl. And then the kid's, I am a boy. And it's like, stops the show. So it's like, all right, Ninja Turtle shirt, what's your name? And we just go from there. So
I've had that a couple times,
Yeah, but it's not fun. And then the other kids start giggling, and you've lost the show for a second. So do anything you can not to lose the show. But yeah, this whole thing about, I think Facebook, somebody said the other day, I haven't checked it. This is all just hearsay, but they said Facebook had like 26 genders you could choose from for your Facebook profile. I haven't checked that, but that makes no sense to me. I don't get that at all, but that's a whole other conversation.
I did a lot of work for at a home for Down syndrome, and I learned my lesson. I got a young girl to help me, and she was about 4'3", the same height as I am, and she might have been maybe about 6 years old, 7 years old, and we did the coloring book at that time, and when I finished, she grabbed me to hug me, and I thought all my ribs were breaking.
Oh, no.
Because listen, I'm sorry, no offense, transgender. I meant Down syndrome. Down syndrome, they're very strong.
Yeah.
Extremely strong. And I didn't expect it, so now I know what to expect. So I have them, as soon as this trick is over with, you go stand over here and take a bow. And I go back to your seat. I try to keep a distance at the end between me and the person, because, man, that was, teacher told me they're very strong.
I've never met one that didn't have a smile on its face and have a good attitude. I've never seen them in a bad mood.
And a lot of magicians, I've seen magicians work for transgender children, and
Transgendered or...
I'm sorry,
You're stuck on it now.
I'm stuck on the calling the kid and whatever.
Yeah, no, you're good.
The Down syndrome, and
You're gonna get letters, but you're good.
I'm gonna get what?
You're gonna get letters, but you're good. You're doing good. Keep going.
Nobody gets letters anymore. So
You're good.
no, and so I said, yeah, I agree with you. They're very, very strong, and so
Very loving, always have a smile on their face. I used to have several Down syndrome children that would come to my restaurant gigs, and that would be their if they had a good week of school and didn't get in trouble, or a good week of school and got good grades or something, a couple different families said that was their good behavior for the week or whatever. They bring them to the restaurant to see the magician, and they always gave him a big hug and always had a smile on their face. And it's like, how could they have a bad day?
Yeah, and there's a form of magic to do for them, and there's things you don't do for them. You don't use guns.
Yeah.
I don't use a gun in the show anyway now, but back then I wouldn't use a gun, a loud noise. I wouldn't use fire. Things like that, because I did a place close by here, and the lady asked me if I was going to do that trick where I was going to make a bird in a pan, and I said no, and she says, well, thank you. She says, we had a magician here about a month ago, and he did that, and luckily we caught one of our students in the garage putting paper in a tray trying to set it on fire.
Oh no.
So,
Aw.
you really have to think almost like a teacher when you go into these schools, because, they want to do what you do, and then, oh, well, the magician did that. Breakaway wands are fine. They love music. Oh, if you could do anything to music.
And color.
And color. Love colors. And, but no, I would not, I've got a guy made a gun and gave it to me, and it is a gigantic, looks like a clown prop, and it's a giant gun, and I'm trying to get rid of it, but nobody will ever use it, now in shows. So I'm thinking about when they have the thing here in town where you drop off your guns.
Oh, there you go.
And thinking about either that, or I'm going to go into the chief's office, police chief's office, and bring it into him.
Well, you need to try to get some press out of that. Yeah, take a camera with you, videotape it.
Yeah.
See their reaction.
Good PR. So, but murders are up, around here now, especially in New Orleans, and it's not a good time to do anything like that. So,
Wow.
But yeah, Stephanie was talking about silks. I produced a 30-foot, 50-foot silk streamer. So at the end of the show, she'd throw it to me, and she'd go, "Here, now it's your turn. Roll it up."
There you go.
Well, that 50-foot, that went all the way in the audience, right? Like through the audience.
Oh yeah, it goes across the stage. I never put anything out into the audience that they can grab.
Well, no, I figured you'd walk with it through the audience.
Well, I'm not walking. She would have to.
That's
go.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I got you.
No, and and so I learned a long time ago. There was a thing on Facebook, and guys get upset, when you say something. But you've been out on the road, you've been doing your thing, and you know the ins and outs and this, and you get this green horn that comes on and just doesn't want to listen. And a guy said, well, I do a dustpan and I produce candy, and then I throw it into the audience.
Good luck with
That's
that.
the opening trick,
Good luck with that.
which just as well could be his closing trick.
Well, and all right, kids, settle down. All right, don't open the candy. All right, quit rattling the candy now. All right, that's just.
Plus, you don't know if it's all children, and I get rapped for this all the time online. You don't know if there is a child in that audience that's diabetic.
Yep.
That child's not going to think, oh, I'm diabetic. Mama told me not to eat this. They're all excited about what's going on with the other kids. So they're going to put that in their mouth. Also small things. I watched a kid sitting in the first row at a library, and he had a pencil that had a removable eraser. And then he was all into the show, and he was, laying on his back, and this eraser is in his mouth. And so I told Stephanie, I said, we give nothing away to our helpers smaller than can't fit in their mouth. You know, because I've given away inflatables. If the library theme is something like Under the Sea or something, I give away inflatable fish that we blow up before time, and but nothing tiny that they can put in their mouth, because if they swallow it, who gave it to me?
Well, the rule of thumb, and the parents aren't watching them. Not 100% of the time. A lot of times, I'm doing restaurants, and hey, your kid's eating that balloon animal over there, and I have to, let them know. I had to carry $1 million insurance policy when I was doing balloon animals in restaurants, just to, in case some kid choked to death on a balloon. But they say the rule of thumb is anything smaller than a golf ball is a choking hazard for a little one.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
look around your house. That's a million things.
Yeah, and once the boys get to crawling around, you'll discover that.
Oh, no, we have one that made it to 9, so we know. We know.
Oh, it's the same thing with dogs. They tell people, like German Shepherds and that, they tell people don't give them tennis balls, because if it gets back in the back of their mouth, they can swallow it, and then you got a problem. But kids will be kids, and if a kid goes home, you produce popcorn in a dove pan, and the kid eats popcorn, they go home and they get sick. It's the same way with restaurants. The restaurant that I worked at back in the 70s and 80s, people started bringing in their own birthday cakes. And they'd come in with maybe 30 or 40 people, because they knew I was performing at a certain time. And they'd bring in their birthday cake. Well, he brought a lot of money to the restaurant, but he had to stop it, because if they got sick, there was no way of telling whether they got sick on the birthday cake or the food at the restaurant.
Yeah, I've heard of that too. Yep.
So we had to move an extra show on Saturday, 5 tables, long tables, and we do 5 birthdays at one time. And that's when I started buying the plastic cups and balls and things like that. And then everybody wanted their kid up on stage because it was their birthday. Well, I didn't have 5 magic effects for 5 kids to help. So before the show started, we get all the birthday kids up there, and we take a group picture, and they'd all get their little birthday gift. And then we do the show. So basically was doing one show, for a full house of people. But, that's why a lot of places today, when you do takeout, they give you those styrofoam containers, and what they're supposed to do, they're supposed to write the date on top of it.
Huh. No, they never do that at a Chinese restaurant around here.
No, they never do at any restaurant around here.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And, I've seen them do it at Applebee's sometimes, and sometimes, I guess things are just so lax right now, But, so, I have a question for you.
I'm here. What's up?
Are you a convention person? Are you doing any conventions? Are you going to any conventions?
Well, Abbott's is going on right now, and
Right.
man, I would have loved to have been there. Yes, I'm going to MAES this year. That's the Magicians Alliance of Eastern States. That's a small one, under 300 people in New Jersey, and I go to that every year. And then at springtime, there's one called Magi World in Northern Virginia, and that's really small. That might be less than 100 people. But unless I'm getting hired at a convention, that's really the only 2 that I kind of clear my schedule for. And less so Magi World, because that's just like a 1 or 2 day convention.
Yeah.
But I've only missed MAES, Magicians Alliance of Eastern States, once since 2008. I really like going to that one. So I turned shows away for that one.
And
See,
that's
that's the thing. I was was always asked about, well, why you don't go to conventions. Well, you know, when I was doing the thing and working every weekend and weekend and weekend, I mean, I couldn't afford to take off. That's my only income. And so, you know, I couldn't go to conventions. And today, I mean, they just price through the roof. You know?
And all of them are in the summer. A lot of them are in the summertime, which is usually our busiest season is summertime. So
with our resorts,
take off to go to a convention would just be not only costing us money, now we're also losing money in the shows that we're not booking. So it's doesn't make sense to do.
And people don't, some magicians don't realize that. And now, next year, if I'm able to make it, the SAM is going to be in New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
Now,
yeah, but that's in the summer, right?
Yeah, July.
No, that's our busiest time of the year, man.
People up north don't want to come down. And the guy called me and he says, it's Harris Casino and Harris Property, and right now Harris is going through a thing with Caesars. So they just named our Superdome Caesars Superdome. And so there's a good chance, if not done already, that Harris is going to change to Caesars. So contracts would sign for that or what, you know? I don't think there's going to be much difference. But like I told the guy that called me, I said, I'm not trying to not make it in New Orleans. But New Orleans, July, August is prime hurricane season.
Oh.
And, you know, you get a hurricane that we've already had one or two that got close enough here, and you get a couple that, you know, decide to come through. What you just can't move it to the following weekend.
Right.
But there is no prettier a theater to work in than Sanger Theater. And, you know, and the Sanger properties are always wonderful to work in. And I did a show there one night for vaudeville, and it was for a cancer society. And it was incredible to be able to go places where the audience doesn't go, to see all the doorways that lead to here and there, and to see you can go up in the ceiling, and, you know, it's just amazing. It's like when I worked in the circus, we had an auditorium down here, and it's just an empty building now, rotting away. It's sad. And he had all the Mardi Gras balls there, and he had these great big chandeliers that they could change purple, green, and gold, any color you wanted. And the building could be divided into a smaller hall or a big, big arena. And it was amazing. I would go there as a kid and never realized that you could go under the floor in New Orleans. I mean, we don't have basements here because of the flooding. That's why people are buried above ground. But this building was built that you could go under the floor. And if a guy did a trapeze act or a wire act, they could take out a tile, and then they could put this cable through the hole in the floor there, and they could tie it down to the beams below, so it would be tight enough to, you know, whatever slack, a tight tautness they needed. And I never knew all of that existed. I mean, they had showers, and they had, you know, all kind of stuff in there. And it's amazing when you get to see these buildings. It's just the education in itself.
Yeah. That can be some of the neatest parts of going to old theaters and performing there. If the person there is nice enough to take you around and show you the history, that's just really neat.
Like Mike in West Virginia.
Yeah. It's just really cool. And all the old stories, like the one he was talking about in West Virginia, the guy had all these ghost stories and things of people who'd seen ghosts and stories of you know, the theater way back in the day and the different different, how they did things in different times and all. And it's just really cool to see all the different aspects of it and hear all the different stories. It was really neat.
That theater was over 100 years old, and he said, see where I have all my light equipment and soundboards? They didn't have that back 100 years ago. This was the black section, black only section at the theater.
Yeah.
And he's telling us all this stuff, and it's like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, they hired professional makeup people, and we had to go under the stage, and they had it set up down there, and they made up the back of my hands and, my face and my eyes so people in the distance could see. And down there were old movie posters, and guy said, I'm sorry, nobody touches them. I'm sure they just rotted away. And, and then it was one of those theaters where the organ came up out of the pit.
Oh, cool.
I mean, right up on stage, on one side of the stage. And in the beginning of the show, they showed a 20-minute Charlie Chaplin film. And the guy played for the Charlie Chaplin film like you did back when there were no, voices that came from the film. And it was really spectacular. And we got the second story dressing rooms. And when you went into the dressing room, here's an old broken mirror on the wall and a 2x4 that had holes cut in it for makeup cups.
Oh,
And
interesting.
you get this eerie feeling like, Blackstone could have been here.
Oh,
Blackstone,
easily. Yeah.
And sure enough, we go downstairs, and in the office, behind chicken wire, so nobody would touch him, was a black and white of Blackstone Senior. And, it's just amazing. But the theater's back up and running since that building collapsed next door. And they're starting off, unfortunately, now COVID we're one of the highest states right now with the COVID infection.
Oh.
Delta variant, whatever you want to call it. So that's why I'm not, trying to get, I'm trying to stay quiet and, don't break anything, don't get too sick, because I know I'm going to lay in the hallway on a stretcher for 2 to 3 days. It's, it's almost like a war movie, and they only going to admit you unless it's critical,
Right.
The doctor over here said, I went into a guy's room and I had to tell him that he had to go home. I couldn't do his operation the next day because it wasn't critical.
Mm.
Wow. Well, what about the zoo? Are you guys open back up at the zoo?
Zoo's open, and Steph and I went back for the month of,
Last month.
went back for June,
Oh, well, yeah.
July,
June and July.
June
We were
and
on and
July.
off.
And we were only allowed on Fridays. They had another group that came in on, they were trying to use as many volunteers that wanted to come back. So they had to divide us up. And they gave us August off, which turned out to be a good thing.
Oh, yeah, it's hot down here.
It's
awful hot down here.
I mean, and so we've been feeling unusual, like the field like temperature has been like 101.
Wow.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
So,
And with Irwin's bone condition, where he's sensitive to heat, and he can become dehydrated so easily. And with my heart condition and having it start skipping on me in the heat, we figured it was a very good idea that we didn't go in August, or that that they let everyone take August off. I'm happy it wasn't just us.
Wow. Yeah.
but we didn't talk about much magic.
Well, let's talk about magic. How about this? Let's do something fun. Do you have any disaster stories? They're always fun. We got 9 minutes. We got 9 minutes left. Do you need disaster stories you want to wrap this thing up with?
That's stories.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, clatterbox trick.
Well, that's supposed to fall apart.
Trick. Huh?
That's supposed to fall apart.
I know, but not before. And it's in the suitcase. And the little boy is up there, and I said, I got to show you something. It's an old antique. And I reach inside, and I hear, wow, and it just went to pieces.
And he looks over at me, and I'm off stage, because this is at the Children's Castle. I'm off stage, and I'm like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? Oh, my God. You know, and he's a professional. He's been doing this for years. He has a way of getting out of every little mishap in the show. And so what he did was he kind of brushed that off, and he took the handkerchief, and he vanished it. You know, he went through the whole routine with the boy with the magic wands and everything, and vanished it, and that was it. And they were very happy. The audience was happy. It was pleased, and that, you know, we closed the show. That was it.
I mean, they didn't know the box was supposed to be in the show, so it wasn't that bad.
Right.
Then back when I was working back in the 70s and 80s, I did a dub production from my coat. And I produced one or two silks, and then I thumb it, and I go forward to pull, and the thing breaks. So all I have is an empty handful of silks and no bird.
His loop
The
broke.
bird is still in my coat.
Oh.
So I take the silks and put them on the side, and then whoever was helping me, I said, stop the music. I said, I have somebody special I want you to meet. So I go behind the curtain, take this thing out of my coat. The bird didn't know what was going on. Pop open the harness, and the bird, you know, and I walk out with a bird on my finger with a big smile, you know. This is a magic bird. He's going to, because the next trick was supposed to be a flip over box and make him vanish.
Right.
And so, but I don't recall any bad mishaps on my end, except maybe a kid getting sick on stage or a kid peeing on themselves.
Oh.
You know.
No, we had things go wrong in the show, and when I started, I was always worried that, oh no, how's he going to, you know, what's he going to do to get out of this, you know? And now, when something goes wrong, I kind of look at him and I think, go ahead, honey, get yourself out of it now.
Right.
Well, that's what I thought. You said he prepared and he had everything worked out. So when his clatterbox was already broken, he did. To me, he worked it out because he looked at you off stage and acknowledged, "Hey, honey," with the eyeballs. "Hey, honey, go fix that. I'll stall." That was my cue.
No. It takes quite a long while to fix this clatterbox.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, that's definitely one of the magic tricks that I do not set up. That's one that he sets up.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, there was no fixing it, and you know, the kids forgot and the audience forgot that I was going to show them an antique. And if they did, I could have said it was an old antique handkerchief, you know. But
No, yeah, it worked out. He was able to do it. They didn't know any different on what was going on.
yeah,
Well,
there was no. Now, had I put it on a table and it would have collapsed, then I'd have been in big trouble.
Yeah, that's show
You know, we
business.
had two duplicate silk handkerchiefs.
Yeah, you just don't let them. You just don't let them know you're sweating. Just keep going, keep smiling, and get it right the next time. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
With Lex's injury that he had, where he fell on his face, Natalie was in the ambulance and going one direction. I had to do the show. I was sweating because I had to rewrite the show as I'm setting it up because there's callbacks for Natalie. I introduced the girls. All that's not in the show now. And, you know, Natalie does tricks. Lana does tricks in the show. It's a family show. So, you know, luckily I have enough magic where it could just be me if it has to be. But when I haven't set up a show like that in over 10 years, I was sweating bullets.
But he pulled it off.
Yeah.
He did fine.
No, it was good. But man, during that setup time.
That's when an hour show turns into a 20-minute show, and you got to stretch it out.
Yeah.
No, it's. I think it's good practice. Not that I want it to happen, but I think it's good to be able to. I mean, if you're too sure of yourself, it's not good. You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just that this trick leads into that trick, and then there's a callback, and then, we talk about Fool Us, and then I do a trick with Natalie, and then I do a trick about, winning an award, and, all of that stuff just goes, but without Natalie, you're skipping around in the story that you tell, so now your whole storyline is askew, so...
Yeah, but, you're able to change it, and that's the main thing.
It worked out. Hey, guys, that's an hour. Stephanie, that wasn't so bad, huh?
No, not at all.
Man,
Thank you for the therapy session.
God, it flew by, guys. I feel like we didn't talk hardly anything. Did we even cover any subjects at all? We talked a little bit of tap dance, a little bit about bone issues, and a little bit of magic, and it's just...
I just want to mention real quick what I mentioned to you earlier. If anybody gets Genie Magazine, it's 2001, and September, and Michael Claxton did an article on a history of little people in magic. And it's a fun read. I forgot about it, and I got it as sent it to me by Bob Fitch, and it's good, So, but other than that,
I'm going to go search for that, and another one they can search for is you on the cover of Mum. Do you know the year of that one?
Did you say it was 69, 79?
No, that's...
The MUM?
Yeah.
That's been, I think, 2006.
2006. All right.
I hated the picture on the front. I didn't pick it. They took a bunch of pictures of us, and the picture of me looks like I'm making faces at the kid and clawing. So that's when I was walking. So I don't know really what I'm going to do next. Like I said, I'm dealing with a couple of health issues, so I'm not actively going after any shows.
Well, do you have a website anybody can find you on? We're running out of time.
No, I don't have a website. You can find me on Facebook, or you can email me at magic, W like William, S like Sam, M like Mary, at AOL.com. And yes, I still have AOL.
That's all right. Well, thank you so much, man. Stay on the line. We're going to wrap everything up. We are so happy to announce that our new show merch is now available at wesisley.com. That's logo t-shirts, my podcast t-shirts, Magic Man hats, stickers, playing cards, and more. Check it out at wesisley.com. And Season 2 of Wes Isley's Magic Life is over, but you can binge watch all of Season 1 and 2 on Jewel TV. Jewel TV is on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the Jewel TV app, and tons of other places. It's in over 100 million households. All you have to do is look for it. See you next week. Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Express Copy and Graphics. Mention promo code Wes Iseli to get 10% off. Their website is expresscopy.com. That's XPRESS-COPY.com. They do it all. Copies, banners, signs, vehicle wraps, promo items, practically anything you need printed, they can do it for you. These guys are great. Check them out. Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Isley for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled WESISELI.